Good morning. It's Saturday weekend. I just actually was listening to Gary Vee, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, if you're looking forward to your weekend, this isn't a good mindset to have." So I'm gonna stop saying, like "Happy Weekend" or "It's almost Friday" kind of thing, because I tend to agree with that. Each day should be created equally, I think. And he looks forward to Mondays. So go figure. Here we go. So I want to talk to you today about the brain, this brain. I know in my work with Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about the heart as the brain. So, the central brain, I should say. And also Greg Braden is really in on that as well. But today, for the purpose of this Facebook Live, we're just going to talk about the three areas of the brain, which are the cortex, the limbic system, and the brainstem. Those are the three that we're going to focus on. So the cortex is more about our logical brain. It likes reasons and rationalizations for doing things. So I think of an accountant here who's purchasing a car. You know, they're with the dealer and they're figuring out the price and like the value that they're going to get from it, and what the depreciation is after they leave the lot, and if it's a used car, how many miles are on it, am I going to get oil changes when I sign on the dotted line, that kind of thing. So that's the cortex. It's where the conscious mind sits, and it's the part of us that justifies our choices and behaviors, and it basically makes meaning out of our feelings and experiences. So that's the cortex. The limbic brain is more about emotions, right? So it's looking for where love and belonging are threatened. So it's in charge of generating emotions, and it's using emotions to promote a sense of safety and well-being. And these emotions will either drive us away from experiences or towards. So an example of this one would be in a new romantic relationship where you get all those feeling, the butterfly type feelings, and you're all excited. And the only way that you can open up to this individual is if you trust them, right? So that's going to drive you towards them. And if you don't trust them, then that's going to drive you away from them, right? So that's the limbic system. And then the brainstem, or in health coaching, we actually call it the critter brain, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this area referred to. I think my coach calls it, imagine it to be like a little puppy running around, because puppies are like into all this kind of stuff and, never really settle. So, but the cool thing about the critter brain is it's actually in charge of the physicality of your body. So it will regulate heart rate, your breathing, blood sugar. It's basically keeping you alive. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, right, now I gotta breathe, right? So we don't think about that kind of stuff. It just sort of happens, which is really neat. So it's constantly taking note of our entire neural system, and it's categorizing things like, is this risky or is this safe? The critter brain does not like change. It gets pretty set in what it knows, and it can and the ways that it can survive. And it likes to have the same experiences over and over again, so that nothing gets coded as unfamiliar. Because if it's unfamiliar, it's risky and it's unsafe, right? So I think of this as someone who has tried numerous times to lose weight and has just ended up back where they started, if not maybe a little bit heavier. So in my health coaching abilities, it's not really, and just in my experience, I should say, even in clinic, I worked in a weight loss clinic for the better part of 2018. So I quickly realized that it's not just about the food. It's not just about exercise. There's a third component, which is mindset and being willing to be all in to change that mindset of perhaps it was an imprint from back in, when you were a little girl or a little boy or whatever, and, someone called you fat, or someone made fun of the way that you looked, or whatever it was back when you were little. You've carried that with you into your adulthood, and it's something that it's the story that you keep telling yourself over and over again. And when we don't rectify mindset, or when we don't tap into changing mindset, then weight loss becomes really difficult. So it's just sort of my 2 cents from what I've discovered when working in clinic, as well as working with my clients online. The mindset is a huge component to the health coaching that I offer. So I don't think it's enough to go to, I'm not going to name the names of the different plans that are out there, but I think that's the one thing that I can really help you with, is the mindset. I'm going to touch on the heart. I did look into Gregg Braden and how he views the heart. And he said back in the day, the brain was considered the master organ, right? That's where like SHIT went down, right? But now they're finding, and this is all researched, I'm not just pulling this out of midair. So they're recognizing that the brain receives instructions from where? From the heart, on what to do, right? So that's really, really cool. So the quality of emotions from our heart determines the signals that we send to the brain. So are we sending healing signals, or are we sending toxic signals to the brain? Something to consider, right? I'm going to leave it at that. I do have a lot more sciencey kind of facts regarding the heart being the central organ in the body, but I think that's enough science for today, it being Saturday. That's sort of my piece on the brain and then now the heart. I hope you guys are enjoying the weekend. I hear it's supposed to be a little bit wet, cozy up with some tea or soup or whatever it is, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, all right, take care, bye.